In the depths of spiritual darkness, where shadows dance with regret and the soul finds itself entangled in webs of its own making, your person exists in a state of profound spiritual suffocation. They are caught within the intricate labyrinth of a toxic karmic cycle, a maze of negativity and unresolved soul lessons that seems to tighten its grip with each passing day. This is not merely a difficult phase or a temporary setback. This is a deep, penetrating darkness that has settled into the very core of their being, creating a prison of stagnation where their authentic self struggles to breathe. Every morning they wake to the same heavy energy pressing down upon their chest, a weight that speaks of choices unmade, paths untaken, and truths unspoken. Their soul, once vibrant and full of possibility, now feels like a bird with clipped wings, desperately yearning to soar but finding itself bound by invisible chains forged from fear, pride, and the accumulated debris of past mistakes. The very essence of who they are meant to be feels buried beneath layers of compromise and spiritual betrayal not of others, but of their own divine nature. They move through their days like an actor playing a role that no longer fits, speaking lines that feel hollow, engaging in relationships and situations that feed nothing within them. Every choice they make seems to lead them deeper into the maze rather than toward the light they so desperately seek. It's as if they've forgotten the language of their own soul, lost the ability to hear the whispers of divine guidance that once felt as natural as breathing. They know, with a knowing that cuts through every justification and every excuse, that they are not living their truth. This awareness sits within them like a constant ache, a reminder of how far they've drifted from the shore of their authentic self. But perhaps nowhere is this spiritual imprisonment more painful than in the realm of their connection with you. The shame they carry regarding their treatment of you has become a living thing within them, feeding on their guilt and growing stronger with each day of silence. It's a shame so deep and so pervasive that it colors everything else in their experience, making even the simplest act of reaching out feel impossible. They are drowning in the recognition of what they've done, not just the actions they took, but the love they rejected, the gift they failed to recognize, the sacred connection they trampled beneath the weight of their own fears and insecurities. The irony is exquisite and torturous. Every time their heart whispers that they should reach out, that they should humble themselves and seek forgiveness, their ego rises up like a fortress wall, armed with pride and terror in equal measure. Their mind becomes a battlefield where love wars with fear, where the desire for redemption crashes against the fortress of self-protection. They replay conversations in their minds, remembering moments when you extended kindness like a bridge across troubled waters, moments when you offered understanding when they had given you every reason to turn away. These memories are both balm and poison to their wounded spirit. They soothe because they remind them of what real love feels like, but they torment because they highlight the stark contrast between your grace and their response to it. You were patient when they were restless, understanding when they were closed off, loving when they were afraid to love in return. You offered them a type of devotion and acceptance that most souls spend entire lifetimes seeking, a love that asked for nothing but their authentic presence in return. Yet instead of recognizing this gift for what it was, a divine offering wrapped in human form, they met your love with walls built from past wounds, with defenses that had nothing to do with you and everything to do with their own unhealed places. They offered you coldness when you deserved warmth, indifference when you deserved appreciation, and in some moments, cruelty when you deserved nothing but tenderness. The recognition of this disparity sits in their chest like a stone they cannot swallow and cannot spit out, a constant reminder of their failure to rise to the occasion of love. What makes this burden even heavier is their growing awareness of who you truly are, not just in their life, but in the cosmic sense. They are beginning to understand that you carry within you the gifts of a healer, that your presence in their world was never accidental but rather a divine intervention disguised as human connection. Your energy, they now realize, had the power to reach places within them that they had forgotten existed, to soothe wounds so old they had become part of their identity. You possessed a rare combination of gentleness and strength, able to comfort their pain while simultaneously challenging them to grow beyond their limitations. Your love was both sanctuary and catalyst, offering them safety while inviting them toward transformation. Before encountering you, their understanding of love was shallow and conditional, based on what they could get rather than what they could give, rooted in need rather than choice, fear rather than freedom. With you, they glimpsed something entirely different, a love that was pure in its intention, genuine in its expression, and generous in its spirit. This kind of love terrified them because it demanded nothing less than their complete authenticity in return. It asked them to remove the masks they had worn for so long, to step out from behind the walls they had built, to risk being seen and known and potentially rejected for who they truly were beneath all their defenses. Instead of embracing this invitation to authentic love, they ran. They convinced themselves they were unworthy, that someone like you couldn't possibly love someone like them for very long. They projected their own fears onto your intentions, their own limitations onto your capacity for love. They chose the familiar pain of isolation over the terrifying possibility of being truly known and accepted. In doing so, they didn't just lose you, they lost access to a part of themselves that could only exist in the presence of that kind of love. Now, in the aftermath of their choices, they sit with regret that goes deeper than mere remorse. They regret the words they never spoke, the vulnerability they never allowed, the moments when they chose fear over love, protection over connection. They regret every time they had the opportunity to meet your love with love and chose instead to retreat behind familiar walls. They wish they could step back in time and choose differently, speak more honestly, love more bravely. In their quieter moments, when the noise of daily life fades away, they find themselves composing conversations they'll never have, writing letters they'll never send, imagining scenarios where they could take back every harsh word, every cold shoulder, every moment they chose pride over love. They long for a parallel universe where they recognized your worth from the beginning, where they treated your connection with the reverence and care it deserved. What haunts them most is the recognition that this separation isn't just a relationship ending, it feels like divine consequence, cosmic justice for their failure to honor something sacred. It's as though the universe itself is holding up a mirror, forcing them to confront the reality of their choices and their consequences. They have lost someone irreplaceable, and this truth burns through them like fire, consuming their peace and leaving them raw with recognition. But perhaps what surprises them most in all of this is witnessing your strength in their absence. They had expected, perhaps even hoped in their darker moments, that you would crumble without them, that their departure would leave you diminished and desperate for their return. Instead, they watch from the shadows as you rise higher than ever before, your light burning brighter in their absence than it ever did in their presence. You embody the archetype of the high priestess, wise, intuitive, connected to your own inner knowing, complete within yourself. You move through life with a grace and dignity that speaks of deep inner work done and wisdom earned through experience. You are unshaken by their choices, unbowed by their absence, and this both humbles and inspires them in ways they never anticipated. They are witnessing firsthand the truth that you were never someone who needed them to feel whole. Your completeness was never dependent on their presence, your worth never tied to their validation. This revelation stirs within them a complex mixture of emotions, admiration for your strength, longing for your presence, and a profound sense of loss for what they let slip away. Despite their physical absence from your life, you remain a constant presence in their consciousness. They think about you far more often than they would ever admit, far more than they think about anyone else. Your essence has woven itself into the fabric of their daily experience in ways both subtle and profound. Certain songs transport them instantly back to moments shared with you. Specific places hold the echo of your laughter. Random scents in the air carry them back to your presence with startling immediacy. Even in moments of complete silence, when the world grows still around them, you come rushing back to their awareness like a tide returning to shore. Your memory is not something they can control or dismiss, it lives within them, as much a part of their internal landscape as their own thoughts and feelings. From your perspective, their silence might suggest indifference, their absence might imply that they've moved on completely. You might believe that they've forgotten you entirely, that whatever connection once existed between you has been erased by time and distance. But the truth is far different from this appearance. They remain connected to your life in ways you cannot see, keeping track of your journey through subtle means, gathering fragments of your story without revealing their presence. They are like a guardian angel who has forgotten how to show themselves, watching over you from the shadows, caring from a distance, loving you in secret. What you cannot perceive is that beneath their apparent indifference lies a deep desire to find their way back to you. They are not simply accepting this separation as final, they are plotting, not with malicious intent but with the desperate hope of reconciliation. They spend countless hours imagining how they might break the silence that has grown between you, how they could re-enter your world without being immediately rejected. In their mind, they rehearse conversations where they finally pour out their heart, where they tell you everything they should have said when they had the chance. They craft scenarios where they could explain not just what happened but what you meant to them, what you still mean to them, how profoundly you changed them even if they were too afraid to show it at the time. But even as they long for this reunion, fear continues to hold them captive. They fear your reaction to their return, fear that too much damage has been done, fear that too much time has passed for genuine healing. They fear facing the full extent of the pain they caused you, fear that their apology will sound hollow after so much silence, fear that you have built a life so complete without them that there is no longer any space for their presence. Yet despite all these fears, they know with absolute certainty that this connection was different from anything else they have experienced. They understand that what existed between you transcends the ordinary boundaries of human relationship. It was a meeting of souls, a recognition that happens perhaps once in a lifetime. This knowing makes it impossible for them to simply let go and move on as if you were just another person who passed through their life. No matter what karmic cycles currently hold them prisoner, no matter what toxic patterns continue to repeat in their daily existence, they cannot erase the impact you have had on their consciousness. They cannot forget how you saw them, really saw them, at times when they couldn't even see themselves clearly. That kind of recognition, that quality of being witnessed and accepted, leaves an imprint on the soul that no amount of time or distance can fully erase. This imprint influences every choice they make now, colors every interaction they have with others, serves as a measuring stick against which all other connections pale in comparison. You awakened something within them that had been sleeping, showed them what love could look like when it flows from a place of genuine caring rather than need or fear. And so they remain suspended between two worlds, the toxic situation that feels familiar and binding, and the magnetic pull they feel toward you and the love you represent. Their soul knows where it belongs, recognizes its true home, but their human fears keep them frozen in patterns of hesitation and self-doubt. In the meantime, they continue to watch your light from afar, marveling at how brilliantly you shine in your independence, wondering if they will ever find the courage to step back into that radiance. They wonder if there will come a day when their love for you becomes stronger than their fear of vulnerability, when their desire for authentic connection overpowers their need for emotional safety. Deep within their heart, beyond all the fear and pride and shame, lives a desire for complete transparency with you. They long to share not just the surface details of their life but the deeper currents, their thoughts, fears, struggles, and moments of joy. They want to trust you with the most fragile and tender parts of their being, those aspects of themselves they have never shown to another soul. When something weighs heavily on their mind, they find themselves wanting to tell you about it, to seek your perspective and wisdom. When their day feels overwhelming, they yearn to lean on your strength and understanding. This isn't about expecting you to fix their problems or take responsibility for their emotional well-being. It's about the deep human need to be known and understood by someone who truly sees them. Just as strongly, they desire to be that person for you, the one you turn to when life feels uncertain, the presence you can count on regardless of physical distance or external circumstances. They want to be your safe harbor in emotional storms, your celebration partner in moments of triumph, your steady companion through all the ordinary days that make up a life. They envision themselves offering you protection, not the kind that diminishes your obvious strength and independence, but the kind that creates a sanctuary around your heart, a space where you can rest from the world's demands and simply be yourself without any need for performance or pretense. They want to give you the gift of their complete attention, to slow down enough to truly see and appreciate you in every moment you choose to share. Their deepest desire is not merely to tell you they love you, but to demonstrate that love in ways that leave no room for doubt or question. Whether through simple, daily gestures or grand expressions of devotion, they want you to feel cherished, valued, and deeply appreciated for exactly who you are. To them, you have become far more than a romantic interest or a missed opportunity. You are their light in moments of darkness, their guiding star when the path ahead seems unclear. You represent hope when circumstances feel hopeless, faith when their confidence wavers, love when the world feels harsh and unforgiving. They hold an unshakable belief that distance cannot truly separate two hearts that genuinely care for one another. While physical miles may create practical challenges, they cannot touch or diminish the bond that has been forged between souls who have recognized each other at the deepest level. This bond lives in every word ever spoken between you, every thought shared, every moment of authentic connection. When they first encountered you, something shifted within them that they still struggle to fully articulate or understand. It was as if you broke open chambers of their heart that had been sealed shut, allowing light to flood into spaces where darkness had reigned for far too long. Through your presence, they began to feel emotions that had been dormant, to access parts of themselves that had been hidden or forgotten. You awakened within them feelings that were pure and unfiltered, sweet and almost celestial in their intensity. These emotions reminded them what it truly means to be alive, to care deeply about another person, to have dreams and hopes that extend beyond their own immediate needs and desires. Before you, there were aspects of their personality and emotional life that remained unexplored, undeveloped, or simply sleeping. Your presence called forth parts of themselves they didn't even know existed, inviting them into a fuller expression of who they were meant to be. With you, they discovered the profound freedom of being completely authentic. They could speak without rehearsing their words, laugh without measuring their response, show their vulnerabilities without fear of judgment or rejection. You saw and accepted the version of themselves that few others ever get to witness, the one who doesn't hide behind strength or perfection, who doesn't need to have all the answers or maintain constant control.